part of their DNA. So quite frankly, those two, Annie probably be a really good one for the world team. She's probably not ready to compete at that point, but God only knows with her, like she probably will get back and physically be ready. But I mean, there's obviously a number of people you can list, but that to me, for people that maybe aren't competing right now, makes a lot of sense, and it's huge star power, and they're actually interesting characters that will give you a lot of sound bites.
Or Matt versus Shane.
Yeah, you could do. But I mean, there's a million of them. Yeah, I mean, you're going to need a staff for that. That's corralling some animals at that point. There's some personalities that I think, Justin, you might need to be in the mix on that one.
All right, Tier Wadapalooza SoCal, this one's for free. And this one is for no points. But next year, it doesn't have to be USA versus the world. It's Team Matt versus Team Rich. You have 16 athletes, and they get to have a draft. And you do that live for the draft the day before.
I love it.
And then you start.
That's what they do at the NBA All-Star Game now.
That's exactly.
Yep. I love it.
Okay, we're gonna timestamp that on May 7th at 2:26 p.m. Eastern
There you go,
time.
Dylan. That one for free, buddy. I expect my broadcast invitation in the mail, though.
Moving on to topic number 2. Well, the workouts, they have been released for semifinals, whether it was on time, early, and different. They are out there. Athletes, they know what's in store. And we even get to see a repeat from 2016 regionals, but we have yet to see any new movements this season. Love it or hate it, OG CrossFit programming for semis versus adding new implements. Chase, Mr. Programmer himself, will let you start this round.
I don't got to sell it because OG programming, it feels like regionals all over again. And those that were begging for the years that were, it's back. We have OG classic programming. And in my opinion, if you're a fan of the sport and you need new things or flashy things or cute little double crossed wall, like you're not a fan of classic CrossFit, right? You need to be infused with false sense of excitement to get into the games, right? OG programming, it looks great, it looks classic. And on the flip side is that, listen, if you're a programmer out there and you need like the coolest equipment or the most craziest high skill thing to make your programming look cool, you're not a good programmer, just period. You can make great engaging events with classic programming using classic movements in the greatest sense, and then just let these athletes go at it where fitness will reign supreme and not cuteness and not nicheness. If you look at the events we've already had, that rope climb event is going to be wild. And let's not forget, we've got an OG finale with the bike muscle-ups and lunge to the finish line. It is going to be a fantastic semifinals, and I'm glad to see some of that OG regional style programming back.
Don't try to be cute. No cutesy here. Cut to the chase. 3 points for Chase. Justin. Love it or hate it?
Yeah, I like the programming. I'm not a big fan of kitschiness. I'm not a big fan of some of the. Listen, I think that there's a place for some new movements, and generally we see that at the games, and then they kind of funnel down from there. I also think logistically, when you're talking about standardized programming around the world, it's probably going to be challenging to get certain, apparatuses, in various places, especially when we're talking about, Korea, South America, etc. So, overall, I like the programming a lot. I mean, listen, there's always going to be little things you can nitpick about. I'm still very curious to hear some of the details on some of the workouts. There's probably 3 or 4 workouts right now we still don't know what the details are, and the details matter. They're going to make a very big difference in the workout when you think about whether it's on a runner, or whether you're running outside, whether or not, it's straight handstand walking, whether there's an obstacle or any tricks involved. Is it, farmers carry dumbbell lunges at the end, or are they in the front rack, etc. So we're still waiting on specific things, but overall, I think it's very solid semifinals programming, and I think we're going to see the athletes that we want to see get through, and without question, I think ultimately the best in the world will be in Texas in August from this programming.
3 points for Justin. O'Keefe, love it or hate it?
Love it, honestly. And To echo Justin's final comment, like these stages, open, quarters, semis, it's about getting the right group to the games, and all that, different, unknowable, odd object stuff. To me, that's the place for it. And you're right, it filters back over time. We test there, and we get people super uncomfortable. I love where we're settling. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's easier for a spectator fan to follow. And I know the foundation for CrossFit's unknown and unknowable, but this stage worked when it was regionals the way it was, and it created exciting races. We also have to think of logistics. Like, honestly, people globally who don't understand that. You've got 8 venues globally. Equipment's flying all over the world from week to week. We're dealing with a smaller space that we're confined to, and we've got to be able to repeat this and create scale across all of these events. It isn't broken. It never was. And, any deviation from it was great. We tried it, and we're back. And this is where it should be forever. It's honestly arguably the best time of year. It's so fun to compare, speculate what the games is going to look like. I mean, I love these 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and I love the time leading up to the games because of what it produces. This is a home run. This is the way it always has to look. Let's be traditional. Let's create tradition. Let's create a storyline that people can follow, and this does it.
4 points for Matt. You all decided that you love it. Classic OG CrossFit style is great. So then at what point do we need to start seeing new implements? Is that exclusively saved for the games, or what are your thoughts around that?
Yes. Keep the cute stuff for the games when there's 13, 15 events to get cute with. Keep it classic. If it's only 6, make it 6 damn good events. That O'Keefe said, which is an awesome point that he made, is that it's easy to follow, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to engage with as a fan. Because if they're doing pirouettes in the middle of the field, or wall-facing handstand push-ups, or pulling on a sled, you're like, I can't really get into that. But man, when they're running 800 meters and doing clean and jerks at 185 and 125 that we just did in quarterfinals, or legless rope climbs that we all know is heavy or hard to do, and then you've got double unders, toes bar, front squats. What can you not understand about that? And therefore, you're more engaged. So the fans are going to be more ravenous because they get it, versus wondering how they can even do something like that. We don't want to see people struggle bus on rings with weight vests on while they're doing pistols and burpees over a box, right? These are actual events that people can get into. And even from the broadcast side, it was actually really tough to stay engaged from the broadcast side all last year because the events were so long, and there was so much time spent on machines where everybody just sits there and wonders where everybody is. Now, we don't have that this year. We get to see what everybody's doing all the time. So I think it's way better than what we've had in the last 2 years.
I think you have to remember it's a spectator sport too. So,